You ever notice how life has this twisted way of whispering to you? A little nudge here, a subtle sign there, and suddenly your world tilts ever so slightly. This person is yours. Funny how those words feel like a thunderclap in the quiet corners of your mind. You think you're in control, that you're calling the shots, and then life laughs. It shakes things up. It drops hints disguised as coincidences, moments that seem too strange to be random. You see them in the most unexpected places, hear them in the things that don't make sense, feel them in the pulse of a heartbeat that wasn't even yours to notice. Life has a subtle way of confirming what's meant for you, and oh, how most people completely miss it because they were too busy screaming, rushing, trying to control every little piece of their own chaos. They look for signs in the wrong places, in loud, obvious gestures, in declarations, in guarantees. They want certainty like a child wants candy, expecting it to arrive wrapped neatly with a bow. But the truth? Life doesn't give out bows. It gives you whispers. It gives you nudges. It gives you moments so small, so strange, so uncanny, that if you blink, you might miss them entirely. And yet, those moments carry more weight than 1,000 spoken promises. They are the silent confirmations that point you toward what is yours. Think about it. Have you ever noticed the strange coincidences that keep repeating? The people who appear at the most inconvenient moments, yet somehow feel exactly where they're supposed to be. The doors that close for you just so another opens in the perfect way, at the perfect time. Most people laugh at these things, dismiss them as luck or chance, but anyone paying attention knows better. The universe, the way life moves, it has a rhythm, a cunning little rhythm that pushes what is yours into your path in ways you can't force. It's subtle, it's patient, it doesn't shout, it doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It creeps up quietly, leaving breadcrumbs only the observant can follow. And here's the twist: confirmation is never about noise or drama. It doesn't arrive with a billboard flashing your destiny. It comes in small, almost imperceptible ways. A glance across the room that makes your chest tighten. A conversation that feels like it was written just for you, even though no one else notices it. The way timing seems to bend, how paths intersect at just the right moment, how your heart knows something before your mind can even catch up. People chase certainty, but certainty is boring, predictable, and often wrong. The real confirmations are messy, uncanny, chaotic, and beautifully inconvenient. They make you feel alive, make your pulse quicken, make you question everything you thought you knew about control and coincidence. Some people rely too much on logic, on plans, on timelines. They try to dictate who belongs where and when. They try to force outcomes, bend situations, manipulate the pieces until they fit into their little blueprint of life. And sometimes it works, temporarily. But real confirmation, the kind that sticks, the kind that resonates deep down in your bones, doesn't obey schedules or logic. It sneaks in while you're distracted, while you're busy arguing with life, while you're convinced that if you just push harder, it will appear on your terms. That's when it hits. In the quiet, in the unnoticed, in the chaos you thought was random. And when you finally feel it, when you finally see it, you realize that the universe has been nudging you all along, laughing at your attempts to control the uncontrollable. There's something intoxicating about noticing it too. The realization that someone or something belongs in your life, that it is meant to be, that it's aligned in ways your mind can barely process. It's like the world tilts slightly, just enough for everything to feel sharper, more vivid. The confirmations come in forms you can't fabricate, moments of pure coincidence that leave you stunned, moments of perfect timing that make your heart skip, moments where every little detail clicks together like a puzzle you didn't know you were assembling, and in those moments, you understand that you weren't guiding life. Life was guiding you, and the person, the opportunity, the moment, it was yours all along, quietly waiting for you to notice. The beauty of it lies in its subtlety. You don't have to shout to claim it. You don't have to fight for it. You don't have to convince anyone else that it belongs to you. It belongs to you because it arrived in your life in a way that defies chance. It's in the way the universe orchestrates encounters, in the way paths cross, in the way hearts recognize each other even before words are spoken. It's in the way the world seems to conspire to bring something meant for you into focus without anyone else noticing. The signs are there for anyone patient enough, anyone willing to stop, observe, feel, and trust the chaos that somehow carries clarity. And that's the challenge, isn't it? To trust it, to notice it, to stop trying to control every little variable and instead let life's confirmation reveal itself. Most people can't do it. They're too impatient, they're too loud, they're too desperate. But when you pause, when you really look, when you pay attention to the small nudges, the strange coincidences, the perfect timings, the uncanny moments, you start seeing a pattern, a confirmation that is almost too perfect, almost too wild, almost too uncanny to ignore, but undeniable nonetheless. It whispers, it nudges, it tilts, it aligns, and suddenly everything you were chasing doesn't feel like chasing at all. It feels like finding. Signs often arrive when you least expect them. And isn't that just the cruel little joke life loves to play? People spend their whole existence waiting for the obvious, the loud, the undeniable, and meanwhile, life slips the most important signals past them in moments so small they barely notice. A glance, a word, a coincidence that seems too strange to be real. And if you're paying attention, really paying attention, it hits you like a secret you weren't supposed to know. But most people aren't looking. They're too busy searching for fireworks when the real magic is in the whisper, in the tick of the clock, in the nudge that comes when the world is too busy screaming to see it themselves. You see, timing doesn't shout. It doesn't make promises with fanfare or deliver neatly wrapped explanations. It creeps in quietly, wearing the disguise of randomness, hiding in the cracks of ordinary days. You could be walking down a street, lost in thought, completely distracted, and suddenly, bam, the sign appears. A person crosses your path, a message pops up on your phone, a song plays on the radio that suddenly feels like it's playing for you alone. And if you don't notice it, if you dismiss it as coincidence, life just smiles and waits for the next chance. It's subtle, it's patient, it's relentless in its own chaotic way. Most people want proof, they want clarity, they want certainty delivered on a silver platter with a bow on top. They don't trust the small things, the strange alignments, the inexplicable coincidences. But those coincidences, those quiet, sly, uncanny coincidences are louder than any proclamation you could demand. They are life's way of saying, pay attention, this matters. Stop trying to force it and just notice. And the beauty of it is that the ones who do notice rarely scream it from the rooftops. They feel it. They know it in their bones. They don't need the world to validate it because the universe has already done so in its own quiet, twisted language. And here's the twist. These signs aren't always comfortable. They don't always appear at convenient times. They don't wait until you're ready, until your heart is steady, until your mind has stopped spinning with doubt. No, they arrive exactly when they have the most power, when they can unsettle you, when they can make you question everything you thought you knew. That's the beauty, that's the thrill. It's the moment when life nudges you and says, stop controlling, stop overthinking, stop demanding certainty. Just feel, just see, just trust. And suddenly the world in all its chaos aligns in the strangest, most unmistakable ways. pointing you toward something meant for you, toward someone meant for you, toward a truth you've been too blind or too busy to notice. The signs can take many forms. A random conversation that lingers in your mind longer than it should. A coincidence that seems too improbable to be ignored. A sudden realization in the middle of an ordinary moment that flips your perspective. They are all around, hidden in plain sight, waiting for your attention. And the ones who notice them gain an advantage over the rest. They start to see patterns where others see chaos. They start to recognize connections that others dismiss as random. They begin to trust the subtle rhythm of life rather than clinging to the loud, messy chaos of human expectation. People are often blind to this because they're impatient. They want instant confirmation, instant clarity, instant answers. They want life to spell it out in capital letters, with exclamation points and dramatic flair. But life doesn't work that way. Life works in whispers, in nudges, in those quiet moments that almost slip by unnoticed. And when you learn to catch them, when you learn to recognize those subtle signs, everything starts to change. Your perspective shifts. Your patience grows. Your awareness sharpens. You start to trust the rhythm of things, even when it makes no logical sense, because you've seen how it aligns, time and again, in ways that can't be explained, only felt. And perhaps the most frightening thing is how life forces you to wait. You can't rush it. You can't demand it. You can't force the confirmation to arrive on your schedule. All you can do is pay attention. All you can do is notice the strange coincidences, the perfect timing, the uncanny alignment that feels too deliberate to be random. And when you do, when you finally notice it, you start to realize that these small signs are louder than any words, clearer than any explanation, and more undeniable than any proof. They are life itself whispering to you, guiding you, confirming that what is yours will find you even in the middle of chaos, even when you least expect it, even when everything else tells you otherwise. Timing is rarely accidental. It whispers truths you can't ignore. And isn't that just the most delicious little joke life plays on all of us? Most people think life hands out answers like candy, neatly wrapped, predictable, easy to unwrap. But timing is a trickster. It's subtle. It's patient. It's clever in ways that make your head spin if you're not paying attention. Things happen not when you demand them, not when you beg for them, not when your mind thinks it's ready, but when the universe decides you're ready. Or sometimes, just when it wants to test you. And if you've been looking for confirmation that something or someone belongs in your life, the way timing unfolds is more honest than any promise, more revealing than any argument, more truthful than any frantic attempt to control the outcome. People constantly try to force it, you know? They make plans, they push, they schedule, they overthink every possibility, trying to bend events into a shape their minds approve of. They believe if they just try hard enough, if they manipulate circumstances with enough energy and willpower, the universe will hand them what they want. But timing doesn't play by those rules. It laughs at plans. It sneaks in quietly, often appearing as coincidence or serendipity or just a fluke that seems too strange to be true. And if you're too busy arguing with it, too impatient, too frantic, you miss it entirely. You don't see the signs, the confirmations, the alignments, because your hands are clenched, your mind is rushing, your heart is screaming for proof. The beauty of timing is in its subtlety. It doesn't shove itself at you. It doesn't yell to make you notice. It's in the quiet moments you almost overlook. A glance, a smile, a word dropped casually, a sequence of events so uncanny it makes your chest tighten for reasons you can't explain. It's in the way the universe orchestrates paths to cross exactly when they're supposed to, in the way moments fall into place just slightly off from what you expected, but perfectly aligned with what you need. And if you pause long enough to notice, really notice, you begin to see the pattern, the rhythm behind the chaos, the deliberate cadence that whispers, "This belongs to you. Pay attention." And timing isn't about convenience. Oh no, it's far more theatrical than that. It likes to show up in ways that unsettle you, in ways that test your patience, in ways that make you question everything you thought you knew about control and order. It forces you to wait. It forces you to observe. It forces you to feel. It pushes the edges of your mind, makes you uncomfortable, makes you doubt, and in that tension, the confirmation arrives. You can't demand it. You can't rush it. You can't negotiate with it. You can only notice it, only feel it, only allow it to unfold. And the moment you recognize it, when you finally see how every little coincidence, every little nudge, every unexpected alignment points you toward what is yours, you understand that patience is not a virtue, it's a weapon. Most people never see this because they're looking for big, loud proof. They want drama, spectacle, certainty. They want signs written in neon lights, announcements in the sky, guarantees stamped with official authority. But timing doesn't work like that. Timing is cunning. Timing is chaotic. Timing is hidden in the mundane, disguised as randomness, cloaked in ordinary moments that almost pass without notice. And those who recognize it, those who feel it, those who allow themselves to wait and watch, they gain insight, clarity, and understanding far beyond anyone else's grasp. They see the invisible threads that bind events together, the hidden cues that reveal what's meant to be, the subtle confirmations that everyone else is too impatient, too loud, too distracted to notice. And the more you pay attention, the more it becomes a game you begin to understand. You start recognizing the patterns, the whispers behind events, the gentle push that arrives exactly when it's supposed to. You begin to trust the rhythm of life, even when it seems messy, chaotic, or inconvenient. You learn that life doesn't hand out certainty, it hands out timing, and timing is far more powerful than certainty ever could be. It teaches you patience, it teaches you awareness, it teaches you to trust the unseen forces guiding you toward what belongs in your life. And when you finally surrender to it, when you finally stop trying to control every variable, when you finally stop forcing what isn't ready, you notice the confirmations you were blind to before, the signs hidden in the chaos, the perfect alignment that says without words, this is yours. This belongs to you. Pay attention, or you'll miss it. True connections reveal themselves through patience and observation, and oh, how easily people miss this, because they're addicted to instant gratification, to drama, to noise, to the thrill of chasing what they think they want instead of noticing what's quietly showing itself. Most people run through life like maniacs, grasping at relationships, clinging to every word, every touch, every glance, desperate for proof, desperate for signs that don't need to be rushed. They want fireworks, declarations, grand gestures. They want it all served neatly on a silver platter. But real connections, the ones that matter, they don't shout. They arrive in whispers, in subtleties, in ways that can almost be mistaken for coincidence. And if you don't pay attention, if you don't practice the patience to observe them, they slip past unnoticed, leaving only regret in their wake. Notice how timing folds into it. A glance at the right moment, a conversation that lingers in your mind longer than it should, a presence that feels familiar, even when the person is technically a stranger. Those tiny, uncanny alignments tell a story louder than any words or actions could. People who rush past them, who demand immediate confirmation, who try to force intimacy, never see the signs. They get caught up in the noise of their own expectations, their own agendas, their own impatience. But patience, oh, patience has a power all its own. It allows you to see the details others overlook, to recognize the subtle ways life nudges people toward each other, to witness the way energy flows in moments nobody else notices. Observation is the other half of this dark little truth. You have to watch, you have to listen, not just with your ears, but with your senses, with your instincts, with the small twinges of your gut that flare up when someone belongs in your orbit. Observe how they move, how they speak, how they respond, how they treat the world around them. Real connections reveal themselves through patterns, not explosions. They are in the consistency of attention, the small gestures repeated over time, the quiet signals that say, without words, I am here, and I am aligned with you. But people ignore the subtle, they chase the flashy, they mistake noise for authenticity, and in doing so, they miss the rare, dangerous beauty of a connection that is genuine. And here's the delicious irony. Those who are truly patient, those who truly observe, become almost untouchable in their clarity. They see manipulation before it can start. They notice intentions before they are spoken. They recognize effort where it exists and detect indifference where it hides behind charm. The world is full of people faking signals, wearing masks, pretending to belong. But if you watch carefully, if you are patient, the masks fall away. Real connections are the ones that survive scrutiny. They are the ones that persist when the superficial is stripped away, when chaos intrudes, when life refuses to follow the neat little script people expect. Those connections don't need to scream to be felt. They resonate in ways that ripple through every part of you. Most people never notice because observation requires stillness, and stillness terrifies them. They're terrified to sit quietly, to pay attention without reacting, to let life unfold without interference. They are too busy filling the space with chatter, overthinking, explanations, distractions, frantic attempts at control. But the quiet moments, the patient moments, the moments spent watching, feeling, noticing, those are the moments when life shows you who belongs. It's in how they respond when no one is watching. It's in how their presence lingers when you aren't seeking it. It's in the small, uncanny coincidences that push two lives together without either party forcing it. And if you ignore those moments, if you fail to observe, you fail to see the confirmation life has been whispering to you all along. Patience and observation also reveal the loyalty and sincerity hidden beneath the noise. They show you who stands still when chaos rages, who remains consistent when circumstances change, who acts without expectation of reward or applause. These are the connections that endure. These are the ones life quietly confirms as yours. Impulsive attraction, rushed attachment, loud promises, they can mimic connection, but they cannot survive scrutiny. Only those who withstand the quiet, who prove themselves through consistency, who persist when observation has stripped away all illusions, these are the connections that truly belong in your life. And the more patient you are, the more observant you become, the more attuned you are to these subtle currents, the more the universe rewards you. The signs become clearer, the alignments sharper, the coincidence is undeniable. Timing, gestures, energy, attention, they all converge in a way that cannot be faked. And in that convergence, that rare, uncanny alignment, you feel the confirmation. You feel it in the gut, in the chest, in the pulse that races when something feels undeniably yours, something belongs. It's a dangerous, intoxicating clarity, and it's reserved for those who can wait, watch, and trust that the quiet will speak louder than all the noise around them. Chaos often aligns to show you what belongs in your life. And isn't that just the most delicious irony? People spend their entire existence trying to plan, control, and manipulate the world around them, thinking that if they push hard enough, pull the right strings, force the right outcomes, they will get exactly what they want. They make schedules, write lists, chase timelines, and fret over every detail, convinced they can wrestle life into obedience. But life has a way of laughing behind their backs. Life delights in showing them that no matter how loud they scream, no matter how hard they push, it has its own rhythm, its own patterns, its own way of aligning events to reveal what is truly meant for them. And often that alignment comes wrapped in chaos in ways so strange, so uncanny, so perfectly inconvenient that if you're not paying attention, you miss it entirely. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how some of the most important people, moments, or opportunities appear in your life at the worst possible times? When you're distracted, busy, or overwhelmed. It's almost cruel how life orchestrates these encounters. The timing seems off. The circumstances seem messy. Everything is chaotic. And yet, if you stop for even a heartbeat and observe, you realize that the chaos itself is the confirmation. That messy, inconvenient, confusing alignment is the universe's way of saying, pay attention. This belongs to you. Most people panic in these moments. They react, they overthink, they flee, they misinterpret. But those who notice, who pause, who see through the storm, they recognize the truth hidden in the madness. Chaos has a way of stripping away the superficial. It exposes intentions, reveals character, uncovers motives, and tests commitment. It has a brutal honesty that people hate because it doesn't cater to ego, to expectations, or to plans. But in that brutal honesty, life shows you exactly what matters, exactly what is meant to be, exactly who belongs. People who survive the storm of chaos, who appear in your life when the world is at its most chaotic, who stay steady while everything else crumbles. Those are the people who are confirmed as yours. Life doesn't need to announce them with fanfare or guarantees. It places them where they belong, and if you have the patience to see it, the discernment to recognize it, the courage to embrace it, you feel the confirmation deep in your bones. Most people don't have the patience. They want simplicity, predictability, control. They want the world to align neatly with their desires, without effort, without struggle, without risk. They want confirmation to be obvious, loud, and immediate. But chaos laughs at this kind of arrogance. Chaos forces you to wait, forces you to observe, forces you to distinguish the signal from the noise. And those who can do that, those who can navigate the unpredictable currents of life with awareness, they gain insight, clarity, and understanding far beyond anyone else's grasp. They begin to see how the universe conspires in subtle, uncanny ways to place what belongs in your life exactly where it needs to be. And it's not just about people. Chaos aligns opportunities, circumstances, ideas, and experiences too. The way timing bends, the way obstacles fall away, the way coincidences accumulate. It all converges to create moments that can't be ignored, moments that confirm what is yours. The chaos isn't random, it's orchestrated in ways that only become clear in hindsight. Those who panic, those who flee, those who fail to notice, they miss the signs entirely. But the patient, the observant, the resilient, they see the threads weaving through the disorder, the hidden patterns guiding them to the confirmation they were too blind or too impatient to recognize before. And the confirmation itself, it doesn't scream, it doesn't demand attention. It arrives quietly, wrapped in the inconvenient, disguised as the improbable. It appears at the exact moment when you can least predict it but most need it. You feel it in the chest, in the gut, in that inexplicable pull that makes your mind pause and your heart race. It's a dangerous, intoxicating clarity, the kind that can unsettle and thrill simultaneously. You know deep down that despite the chaos, despite the noise, despite the unpredictability, life has just whispered a truth to you. This person, this opportunity, this alignment, it is yours. And the chaos, as maddening as it seems, is part of the confirmation, part of the proof, part of the revelation that the world conspires in strange, twisted, perfect ways to deliver what belongs to you, if only you can notice it, embrace it, and trust it. Intuition is a guide when logic can't explain the signs. And isn't that a delightful little trick life plays on everyone? People love to believe they can figure everything out with their brains, with their plans, their calculations, their endless analysis. They want patterns neat, outcomes predictable, proofs undeniable. But life has other plans. Life delights in twisting, in hiding, in presenting confirmation in ways that logic can't measure, can't dissect, can't predict. And that's where intuition comes in, the dark, quiet, unsettling voice inside that says, notice this, pay attention, trust this. It whispers when reason can't reach. It nudges when timing seems impossible. It screams silently when coincidence is more than chance. Most people ignore it, dismiss it, mock it because intuition is messy, intangible, unreliable on paper. But those who trust it, those who feel it, those who surrender to it, they see confirmations hidden from the rest of the world. Intuition is strange. It's subtle, yet relentless. It doesn't explain itself. It doesn't give you guarantees. It doesn't follow the neat logical paths that your mind craves. It shows up as a feeling, a pull, a twitch in your chest, a restless thought, a sense of timing that defies reason. You can't prove it. You can't argue with it. And that's precisely why it works. Logic operates in daylight, in black and white, in predictable steps. Intuition operates in the shadows, in uncertainty, in chaos. It sees connections before you see them. It senses patterns before they're obvious. It whispers warnings before disaster strikes and murmurs confirmation before the world announces it aloud. People who ignore intuition, who rely solely on reason, miss the hidden currents that shape life's true design. And the proof of intuition is rarely loud. It doesn't arrive with applause or fanfare. It comes quietly, often disguised as coincidence, synchronicity, or an uneasy feeling you can't quite explain. You feel a pull toward a person, a place, a choice, a moment, and if you follow it, strange alignments begin to emerge. People appear in your path at the exact right time. Events unfold with uncanny precision. Opportunities reveal themselves in ways too perfect to be random. And when you look back, the puzzle pieces fit, the coincidences align, the signs were there all along. But you only noticed because you trusted that internal compass, that subtle guidance that logic would never uncover. Most people don't trust intuition because it's unpredictable, messy, and uncomfortable. It doesn't offer the control they crave. It doesn't make sense to their minds, doesn't fit neatly into spreadsheets or plans. But intuition thrives in uncertainty and chaos, in the gaps where logic fails. It notices what you overlook. It hears what you ignore. It feels what you dismiss. And when you finally learn to listen to it, to act on it, to respect it, the confirmations arrive in ways that shock, unsettle, and exhilarate. They arrive in perfect timing, in unexpected coincidences, in people and moments that seem too strange to be real. And yet, they are undeniable. And here's the devilish part. Intuition often tests you. It doesn't give everything immediately. It makes you wait. It makes you doubt. It makes you second-guess yourself. It challenges your confidence and patience. The signs are subtle. The nudge is slight. The whisper is almost imperceptible, because life wants to see if you're paying attention, if you're willing to trust without proof, if you're ready to follow where reason cannot lead. Those who panic, those who demand certainty, those who ignore the inner voice, they miss the confirmation entirely. But those who pause, who observe, who feel, the confirmations emerge, unmistakable, undeniable, in the chaos of life that only intuition could navigate. Intuition also strengthens your perception. Once you begin trusting it, You start noticing patterns everywhere, the timing of events, the people who appear at just the right moment, the uncanny coincidences that signal alignment. You start sensing connections that others dismiss, reading energy that others cannot perceive, recognizing truth that logic would never reveal. It becomes a sixth sense, a weapon, a lens through which the hidden orchestration of life becomes visible. And suddenly, the confirmation you were waiting for, the person, the moment, the opportunity, the alignment, becomes impossible to ignore. You see it, you feel it, and you understand that logic could never have guided you here. And the thrill of it, the thrill is in the surrender to the chaos, the unknown, the invisible threads that tug at your life. To follow intuition is to dance with uncertainty, to embrace the strange, the uncanny, the unexpected. It's to trust that life knows more than you do, that the universe conspires in ways your mind cannot calculate, and that confirmation, true, undeniable confirmation, arrives for those willing to follow the quiet, persistent whispers of the soul. Confirmation comes quietly, not with noise or fanfare, and oh, how people fail to recognize it, because the world trains us to expect drama, spectacle, and